Let's go. Let's go. Welcome to a brand new episode of the podcast, everyone. The Mike Herrera podcast. That's my name. That's me. That's what we're doing here. We're talking about MxPx stuff. We're talking about punk rock. We're talking about music. We're talking about being an artist. We're talking about any kind of creativity in your life. That's what I like to talk about on this podcast. But my band, MxPx, is kind of a centerpiece for sure. So welcome to it. I appreciate you. Thanks for push and play. If you haven't already done so, subscribe, add, follow, whatever it is you're listening on. There's something like that on there. I appreciate that. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Mike Herrera Video. And then you can see me. Look, it's a Monday. Summer is officially here. We're getting ready for it. We finally have podcast stickers. What's up? I know, it's like so silly. It is so easy to get stickers made, yet it took us this long. And I got to say thank you, Bob McKnight. Bob sent these out to everybody that signed up for free. He said there was a few issues where there were some doubles that he had to take out, and but he figured it out, and he has sent those out as of last week. So if you signed up, you probably are getting a sticker. And I think it's just one per, so we could give everybody as many stickers as possible. But he's in the merch arsenal now. So go to MxPx.com. Anything you order, we usually give a couple stickers with the order. And I'm going to mention that we should start throwing these in with orders as well. And if you buy a sticker pack or whatever, you can actually buy them too. But there's ways around that. There's ways, you spend more money to get free stickers, right? So MxPx.com. If you haven't already been there recently, please go check it out. There's now the Space PX is now floating, and it's kind of cool. So there's been some upgrades to the site. We've been playing live on the internet a bit, and that's right there on MxPx.com. And then if you scroll down past that, it's tour dates. We just got back from Vans Warped Tour in Washington, D.C. I'll talk about it, I don't know, in a couple weeks or so, eventually. Next week, we have my buddy Ryan Holiday is going to be on the podcast. We're just talking about writing, about process, about life, about routines, and just kind of normal things. Normal for us anyway, maybe not normal for everybody, but it's a great conversation. And more on that next week. He'll be on next week. So all the Vans Warped Tours all summer long into the fall, MxPx will be on every single one. So if you're going to Warped Tour, make sure you see MxPx on one of the main stages. And then Punkadeka Festival in Milan, Italy. That's September 5th. That's a Saturday. Come see us. A bunch of other great bands are playing, some English bands, some European bands. I think we are the headliners, so come and see us if you're in Europe. Going to be great. And that's about it. That's all I got for you right now. I know we talked about some other things, maybe Pacific Northwest, something or other, but we are not ready to announce anything. And like I said, if you're going to save any date, it's going to be end of summer, last weekend of August. That's all I can say, but it's not going to be what you think. It's going to be a little different, but it is going to be cool. If we can make this thing work, right? Like there is a possibility and there is a world in which I tell you, sorry about that date, it's not happening. But as of right now, I would still save that date. All right, cool. Merch arsenal, like I said, visit MxPx.com. We kind of have a new look. It's slightly upgraded, and I think the merch store works much better. Shipping is better. If you're in the US, absolutely. And I think we have a different shipping store in Europe or overseas. So if you're overseas, don't worry about it. It should just be what it was. All right, so check it out. We got jackets. We got obviously, I was talking about the stickers earlier. We got a bunch of MxPx stickers and other stickers that we usually try to include. But if you just buy a sticker, it's like $2 at this point. You remember when stickers were like 10 cents? Now they're $2. We got t-shirts, sweatshirts, skateboards. I mean, the whole thing, vinyl, a ton of great stuff. All right. Appreciate you guys. I just wanted to mention that about the stickers. So thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. All right. Let's get to your voicemails. What do you think? What do you? What say you? Let's find your voicemails. How about that? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Okay, hi Mike. I'm Amelia. I honestly couldn't get my words out for some reason without awkwardly pausing to think. So yes, I'm reading off a piece of paper that I wrote. I was talking to my mom about calling in together, but I don't know what happened to that. But it's okay. She's probably listening anyway. I know she listens to this. She likes your podcast. I like your podcast too. So, sorry. I went to the Goldfinger show with my parents a few weeks ago in Houston, and also the MxPx show in Denver with my mom. We flew to see you guys and the other bands that were there. We were definitely excited for Homegrown. It was very worth it. You guys killed it. And I'll always be singing my parents' music taste because it's the best. So I thought I'd actually ask you a question so you have a little something to talk about. I don't know if anyone's asked this before, but my question is, like, what video games were you super into or any that you play in your free time? I'm assuming The Sims is in there somewhere, because I thought I saw it on an MxPx, like, official playlist or something. But, yeah. Okay, so my mom also wanted me to tell you that she loves you. And I quote, I hope she said my mom loves you. Okay. All right. I wish you the best with everything, Mike. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Amelia. I'm going to take these glasses off now. I just realized I had them on. I forgot. Came in from outside. I just left them on. Anyway, hey, Amelia, thanks for your call. Appreciate it. And tell your mom, hi, how are you? I appreciate it. I love you too. Hope to see you again when we come back to Texas. But thanks for seeing Goldfinger in Texas. Thanks for seeing MxPx in Denver. That show was off the hook. Of course, Homegrown. They know what's up. It's so much fun to see them play, and I'm so glad they're back. So, yeah, good stuff. All right, so I wasn't quite sure what you said. You said something about MxPx and video games, but I know you want to know what video games I play, but I just didn't quite hear what video game you're like. I'm sure you play this game, but I don't know what game that is. So let me just start with, I mean, I go way back with video games. I'm not a video game freak, but I do respect video games, and I enjoy them from time to time. I'm not necessarily good at all of them. Some of them I'm better at others. So getting back into it, Pong. Pong was something that we played as kids. Like, we had a black and white TV, put it in the closet, had this little Pong set up, and that's just like the very first video game before Nintendo or anything like that. And then, without giving you the whole history of my video game life, which I think actually exists, I did a interview with this guy that just mainly does videos on video games. And so we talked about all my video games. Anyway, the whole history is on that video that I wish I could tell you how to get to, but just look up Mike Herrera video games on YouTube. All right. But I obviously liked Zelda. Not obviously. Zelda. I was huge into Zelda on Nintendo. Mario Brothers. I beat Mario Brothers, the first one. Mario Brothers 1. I beat that. And I want to say I used a cheat code towards the end so that you wouldn't because you die a lot at the end. You're just like constantly dying. I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure I had to have used like a cheat code where you get like 1,000 lives. And there's a thing where you can get you just rack up a bunch of lives if you do something in the game. Anyway. Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I was a fan before we were ever on the soundtrack, so definitely played that. Before those days, before Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the video game Skate or Die. I mean, I played that. I played everything. Anything that was kind of popular. Mortal Kombat. Castlevania. Yeah, I played Castlevania. All the Mario 3, Mario Kart. I've played it all. I've had a Nintendo Wii in the past, so you can play tennis and all this different stuff. It's really fun. And but I don't play video games all that much anymore. It would be special occasion kind of stuff. Like if I just happen, somebody's playing something and I gotta sit down and play, I would play that. Back in the day, I would play Baseball All-Stars, which was a video game. Maybe that wasn't what it was called, but it was a baseball game where you could pick different all-star teams. So I had like Mickey Mantle, Babe Ruth, all the greats, right? And I'd be playing with these guys. And that was early Nintendo days, I feel like. And then, Madden, football. Tom Wisniewski and I really love playing that game. I would say he's more into it than I am, or was anyway, back in the day. When we used to tour, he'd be playing Madden constantly in the back lounge of the bus, and I'd go back there to songwrite, play, warm my voice maybe for a show, but like if it was during the day or if it's just at night, it'd be songwriting. And so I would go back there and he'd be back there already playing video games, and I'd be like, so annoyed that I don't have a place. I need an alone spot to like plink out these ideas. And it's hard to tell somebody that they're fully into this game to pause it and let me plink around on a guitar. But I think maybe, that's just life. That's part of life, right? It's almost like similar to, having one bathroom growing up, which I coincidentally we had one bathroom growing up in the house that my parents still live in, by the way, one bathroom. And so like you have to wait. You go and do your, take a shower in the morning. Somebody's already in there. I had two sisters growing up as well. So it was crowded and it was busy. And so I think that prepared me a little bit for band life and realizing that, hey, we all need to do things. And just because you want to write a song doesn't mean everybody's like, wait, no, you should write a song. I figured it out eventually, But anyway, great question. And the last thing was your mother loves me. Thank you again. Love y'all. And thanks for coming out to Denver. That means the world to us. It really does. It's amazing. So thank you. All right. Moving on. Here we go.
Hey, Mike, it's Rich. I was wondering, which bass of yours did you get the first Pokinatcha Punk pickguard on? Which was the first one? That's the only question. Okay, cool. Thanks. Bye.
All right, Rich. Thank you. Maybe you stumped me because I wouldn't bet a lot of money that this is the correct bass, but the first bass that I had modded for me, I had modded so that I'm pretty sure it was just the volume that worked, and I would assume that it was it's a bass that actually I ended up having Marshall from Tumbledown use when he was playing electric bass. He would play this. It was a maroon kind of wood grainy finish and a really nice looking bass, and that's modded so that just the volume works, no other tone knobs work, and I took it a step further after that and got it all modded to just be from the jack to the pickup, and that's it. Which I gotta say, since we're talking about bass, maybe I'll tell you about how I just switched out a few pickups for the first time ever in my whole life, but I'll talk about that in a second. So this bass, I'm pretty sure, is probably the first one that I had the etched Pokinatcha Punk pickguard, and they did that for me on a couple basses. Probably, if I had to guess, it would be 1998, 1999, somewhere right in there. That's when I really cemented my relationship with Ernie Ball and just started playing Ernie Balls, the Stingrays. So somewhere in there, and that makes sense. And I had quite a few basses made after that first initial mod, and so I had a black sparkle, a red sparkle, I think I had just a few different finishes that were just regular colors. So, but the sparkles were big in the early days, and I want to say maybe now that I'm really thinking about it, like I said, don't quote me on all this historically, but like now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I had the etched pickguard before I had the modded bass, which would make sense how if they modded something and they would send it with the etched pickguard as well. So I wonder if I could find in my arsenal any old basses that have no mod to them. Were there any custom basses that they made? I don't know. I think I just got a couple basses maybe right at the beginning from Ernie Ball. But here's the thing. I bought my first Ernie Ball from a store, and, I actually tell that story. I got to send that video to Ernie Ball. I just did a story about my first bass, and I put it on layaway at American Music in Tacoma, Washington, and I mowed lawns, and I did the whole thing that I did for my first bass ever, which was a PV T40. Sorry. Anyway, my brain is putting things together very strangely right now. So anyway, that first Ernie Ball I got, that Stingray, that is a fully off-the-shelf Music Man Stingray. It's American. It's all, I paid full price for it. And so I finally paid it off, and I brought it to the gig that night in Silverdale, Washington. We played the I think it was called Silverdale Community Center. We played there many times, and that was one of our headlining gigs. It was completely sold out. It was packed. And here I show up with a brand new bass. It was very interesting. Anyway, that was my first bass, that I bought from Ernie Ball. And then I wasn't exclusive to Ernie Ball at that point. So at one point, we recorded with Steve Kravac, and he's like, hey, you really should try out these P basses. So I bought a P bass, and I still have that P bass. I used it for a lot of records, including, Life in General, Slowly Going the Way of the Buffalo. On the back of the artwork of Buffalo, you see me playing a P bass. And then after that, you never see me with a P bass really again. Not much more than just me on somebody else's, something like that. But because I never signed anything with Ernie Ball, but it was a verbal agreement. It's like, hey, we're going to work together. We're part of the Ernie Ball family. So I've been with them ever since. I'm very loyal to Ernie Ball. I love what they do. I love their strings. I love all their accessories. I love their instruments. They're very, very, very well made. And so it was never a product that was janky, never a product that I felt like I shouldn't be standing behind. So again, thank you everybody that's bought my Signature Series bass, Sterling by Ernie Ball, or by Music Man, that for that matter. It's been out of stock twice already, I think. The first time it ran out, like literally the first week, it was gone, and then they got it back in stock, and then and of course it differs depending on which store you're buying it from and things like that. But I just want to say thank you so much to anybody that's bought one and has one, and anybody that's ordered one and hasn't even gotten it yet. Thank you for your patience on that too. But yeah, so I'm not really sure exactly what bass was the first etched pickguard, but I should probably call up James Barrett, Leprechauno. He was my bass tech for a lot of years, and I think maybe he wasn't with us by the no, that would be Neil. Neil might know, because in the 90s, Neil Hunt was taking care of the bass stuff, and JJ Janes was taking care of the guitars, and then we've had quite a few different guitar techs and bass techs over the years, but I'm pretty sure it was Neil now that I'm thinking about it. It's who knows, right? Like, it's just so hard to I'd have to go back and start interviewing our past techs to see what they remember. I'd be like, all right, this is gonna be hard, but see if you can remember really far back what was the first etched bass pick pick guard that we ever got from Ernie Ball. All right. Great question, and I can't even tell you the definitive answer. Moving on.
Hey, Mike. My name is David Herrera, no relation. Calling from Colorado. I've been a fan probably well over 30 years now. And so I just, first of all, wanted to say thank you for continuing to put on some of the best shows possible. I just saw you guys play at the Mission Ballroom, but I was telling my kids, like, man, I saw you guys play in a small church. I think it was like your first tour with Blenderhead, and I just remember how excited I was when you guys came through Denver to like what I considered a real venue, which was the Bluebird in Denver there. So anyway, since then, I think I've had just a great experience of watching you guys grow and go from these small venues to huge ones and do festivals, the whole thing. So grateful for you guys' music. This last show in Denver at the Mission Ballroom, I was actually able to take my 16-year-old who saw you 2 years ago, and then my 10-year-old, I took him, and that was his first show. And I actually have a video of you trying to give him a fist bump during the Goldfinger set, but he was actually wearing a red MxPx shirt. I don't even know if you'd remember that, but he was like so shell-shocked. I'm like, dude, Mike was trying to give you a fist bump, and he's like, I can't believe he's a real person. So, I mean, he had an amazing time. He was just saying how the lineup was incredible and every band just kept getting better. So that was really cool. But I'll tell you guys, before, I think everyone, I've heard this said a lot, like, man, before watching you guys live, neither of my boys are really fans. They obviously knew your music because of me, but seeing you live, man, my 10-year-old was like, I want to join their fan club. And just to clarify, something I mentioned in a previous podcast, you know, it only costs $20 for that fan club, and that's an amazing deal, I think. But it was just great. My son, my 16-year-old, decided to do some crowd surfing and get in the pit finally. After all these shows we've taken him to, he really got his first experience. I was like, I lost him for a sec, and all of a sudden he was kicking me in the head, and he was crowd surfing, so it was amazing. Anyway, just thank you guys so much for all you do, and I love the podcast. I was hoping you would have some advice for my son, Joel. So at 16, he just started to play bass, and he's getting involved in a band of his own. They're still trying to figure out what kind of music to play, but I was hoping you could give him some insight or some tips, especially when it comes to improving on bass and continuing to grow as a musician. Thanks again for everything. Keep up the podcast. Love what you do. Much love from Colorado.
So, dude, David Herrera, my namesake, what's up? And what's up, Joel? Man, all right. So this is a great call. I appreciate it. So cool to hear that you brought both your sons and you had different, you know, you have these experiences that are truly irreplaceable, really, I guess, you know, indispensable. No, irreplaceable, I think is the right word, you know, because I mean, they're going to be unique to what they are, you know. New experiences will be great too. But you know, I appreciate seeing that so much, seeing the generation, seeing a fan that's been around 30 years, such as yourself, and then bringing your kids, you know, trusting us with your kids' as life experiences is cool. I don't know if people really even probably think that deep about it. And it really isn't that deep, maybe. But now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, wow, you know, you trusted that. Maybe you didn't think we were going to be that good. I mean, you said you've seen us a bunch, so you've liked us. But like, yeah, I feel like I've talked about this in the past a little bit, but just like I really try to put on the best show I can every single show, every single place we are. And I always have felt like that. I've always tried to do that because of the individual person that's seeing you, right? That person, I didn't catch your 10-year-old's name, but you know, that's who we're playing the show with. It's not, yes, there's thousands and thousands of people, and we went from, you mentioned you know, the first time you saw us in Colorado, in Denver. I'm pretty sure that was the Ozatlan Theater, the first show we ever played, and it was Blenderhead, MxPx, Five Iron Frenzy opened, which was, you know, we've known them for our whole career pretty much, you know, once we started touring. So I'm pretty sure that was our first, you know, but we've played all over. We've played all over Denver and all smaller places for the most part than Mission Ballroom. You know, we've played some Warped Tours, of course. We played radio shows, amphitheaters, but MxPx headlining a show, this was definitely our biggest show. So much love to you all for coming out. And I love, you know, we're doing this for each individual person there. If that, I know it's hard to say that, and it's maybe not even true. I don't know. But like, we really do care about the individual's experience. So when you walk into a show, from the moment you walk in to the moment you leave, you know, we're not necessarily in charge of every single thing that happens to you. A lot of that is the venue and the staff there. But we really do care. We want you to have the best experience, whether it's if you need a VIP section, or you need, you know, the ADA section, or whatever it is you might need that's a little different from what somebody else needs. You know, not everything's perfect, but we really do care. We try to make the show experience for people coming to an MxPx show great. And so, you know, that's why we don't necessarily always have every single show be like 4 bands deep. You know, not every show should be 4 bands deep. Some shows it's just somebody like the Suicide Machines or the Ataris opening, and then MxPx plays. But when we do a 4-band bill, we're not going to play. We're going to miss a few songs. We're going to condense our set just a little bit. You might not even notice, but it's just a little condensed so that it just feels ever so slightly more attainable, and everybody's just happier. And so we really try to figure that out as best we can. You know, we don't always nail it, but I think for the most part we have been lately. It's been great. Let's talk about Joel. Advice for Joel being a bass player, starting out. What kind of music should they play? What should they be doing? Honestly, I guess it just depends. What are your goals? When we started out at 16, I didn't have the goal of becoming a rock star. I mean, you always have that goal that's up in the ether of, yes, I want to become a rock star, but it wasn't necessarily like in the forefront of everything you're doing. The goal should be attainable. It should be like, okay, we should put a set of songs together. Now, we don't have one song yet. Okay, let's back up. We should put one song together. Now, if you have somebody that's writing songs, if you're writing songs, Joel, keep writing, keep doing it, keep making it happen. It was taught to me, like, I was taught that, I wish I had a guitar on me right now. I was kind of taught that, you know, the most simple way you could write a song is come up with a part, and then you, for the next part, you do it backwards. So you go, and then there's 2 parts, right? So I'm not saying you should do that, but what I'm saying is breaking things down to very simple is a great way to start, and it's a great way to ensure that you're going to have more fun. Because, okay, let's just break it down even simpler. Forget writing a song. Maybe you guys aren't ready to write yet. You're just trying to learn how to play. And I kind of did it at the same time. I kind of was writing before I knew how to play, and then I learned how to play from writing. But let's say you're going to do a cover song. Do a cover song that isn't so technically hard that you're just like trying to figure it out. Like, do something that's so easy that you have fun doing it. And there's plenty of songs that are easy that are still really fun to play and really sound really cool coming out of your amp and out of the drums, and like, just find something that's cool, like, and then just play it. And then you find things that you like, that maybe that informs what style of music you want to play, depending on how fun it is to play certain songs, right? I don't know. I've never done, it's been so long since I started out doing music, you know, but the root of it is, so let me use my daughter as an example, because she's been doing it she's 13 now. She's been doing it since she was like 7 or 8. She started playing guitar. She could barely, of course, she barely put her hands on the frets. Now she plays chords. She plays solos. She's not like a ripper yet, but she learns like a solo by a band, and she'll like play that, and it's a melodic solo. So it's not like she's learning scales necessarily, but she's really good. And it literally is because she writes songs and she practices and she finds a chord based on what it sounds like in her head, just the way I've been doing it my whole life, which is wild that she does that. But I think a lot of it is your kids watch you, you know, they watch what you do. And of course, if you're not a musician, they're not necessarily going to take that from you. My parents weren't really musicians, so it wasn't that, but it's other things, you know, work ethic, what they see day in and day out? Do they see problem solving? Do they see complaining? Do they see, I think the best advice you can give your kids is the nonverbal advice, which is lead by example in your life. And like I said, it doesn't have to be an A to A thing. It can be just a basic lifestyle that you live. Set a good example for your kids in that way. And that's going to translate to their life in other ways that you couldn't even possibly imagine. And, I think that's the way life is, how we build up equity, whatever that is. It doesn't even have to do with money, but like sweat equity or, knowledge. And so you build things up by doing them consistently. And I try to tell my son this every day. Hey, when you start working out, because he's starting to do push-ups, he's starting to think about being, doing physical things and like being in shape just a little bit. He's not even 10 yet, but so he's not like doing like gnarly workouts, but he's doing push-ups and he's doing sit-ups and he's doing like body squats. And so I just tell him, what, it's not about going hard and doing it all day, but it's about being consistent every day. And that everydayness is, before you know it, going to make a huge difference and a huge impact. And that is anything in life. Anything you want to get better at, anything you want to learn, anything you need. If you want to lose weight, if you want to gain weight, if you want to learn a language, you do a little bit every day. You don't just cram for the test. I mean, sure, you can cram for the test as well, but like every day if you're not doing it. So to me, seeing my daughter when she's played like maybe a handful, like literally maybe one or two shows on her own where it's like her, and maybe even just one now that I think about it. All the other ones haven't been full shows. So she's done one full show and it was flawless. Like if you look at my first show compared to her first show, it's like Olivia Rodrigo and me. You know what I mean? Like there's just like, she's way better, right? So because the reason why she was so good is because she practiced every day for 2 weeks on that set. And I told her, hey, you need to be practicing every day. And my wife, same thing. Hey, Sailor, make sure you're practicing every day. And she's learned that from doing theater gigs, and she's acted in plays and things like that. So I mean, she's got that work ethic down. Like, okay, in her head, it's like, if I want to be good at this, I have to do every day or every week at least, a few times a week to get there. That's all. That's the best advice I can get, is just consistently do whatever it is that you want to get better at. All right. Thanks for the call, David. So much love to you guys. Thanks for coming out to Denver. So much fun in Denver over the years. I appreciate it. What was it? What's the place called? Pot Stickers? Or there's one of my favorite restaurants is in Denver. I think it's called Pot Stickers. It's an Asian kind of a university style, like college style, hole in the wall kind of place. It's really great. But the Dan noodle, whoo, so good. You got to try that. There's a free advertisement there. All right. I really hope I got the name of the place right. It's very close to that, if not called Pot Stickers. All right. Next voicemail.
Hey, Mike, it's Nate. I want to call about CDs, right? So I've always been big on the CDs. I love the quality. Obviously, everybody out there listen on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. Get it as many places as possible. But I'm a big CD guy, and I had, in February, had to get a new car. Not a new car, but a newer car to me. And the radio in there wasn't working. So I'm like, all right, can you give me a new one? Got a new one. Obviously, the first CD I put in is my Find a Way Home MxPx CD. Super pumped. I love listening to you guys all the time. The next day, the radio just doesn't work. Doesn't turn back on. Doesn't, power back. It has these lights that are on. I can just hear the engine on it just come burning through. And it never worked. I had to go back. It ate my CD. I was so upset. I really wanted to just rip the thing out so I can get it back. My brother got me that one. Specifically, the autographed one. I mean, the CD's not autographed, so that would have been even more devastating. But, I couldn't get my CD back, so the place said they'd get me a new one. That was a couple months ago. I still haven't seen it. So kind of upset with that. Didn't know if you ever had anything like that, maybe even a tape day with the tape kind of got eaten or anything like that. It stinks. I'm definitely going to get a new one. Not going to rely on that one coming in from them, unfortunately. But, yeah, just to know if you ever had any, instance with that. Maybe someone borrowed a CD and it got scratched or, cause I take good care of my property. So the fact that that was, in there and I couldn't get it back was upsetting. But, yeah, I just want to call and just, tell that story. Hope all is well. Go MxPx. And, thank you also, Bob McKnight, for the sticker I saw on, Facebook. He put on a link up there, so or Google Doc, one of those things. But yeah, I'm looking forward to rocking that too. Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Nate, dude, I'm so sorry that your CD got eaten. That is devastating. I guess there's worse things, but like you were saying, is there anything I can do? Like maybe write to Mary, let her know, and then she can hit me up, and I'll be like, "Yep, thumbs up. I get you a new CD." It's a bummer. But I wonder, what's the name of the company? Maybe we can look at our orders and see if we have an order from the company for a CD to see if they've actually tried to order. Like, I doubt we have. I mean, I doubt they have, but because, if they ordered a CD, you would have gotten it by now, right? But maybe they're ordering it back to them and then they'll send it to you. I don't know what the deal is, but very strange, right? Let me know if there's anything I can do for you, Nate. Or email us, of course. Funny, I don't know if I have a story about something getting eaten. I mean, I probably do, and it's just been so long I can't. Nothing sticks in my head. But I do have a story about CDs. When we were recording Panic, we were making a lot of mixes. So we were done recording, and we were mixing Panic. Gavin McKillop was mixing. We were at his studio in North Hollywood, El Dorado. No, not El Dorado. Sorry, that was Dave Jordan. Gavin McKillop. That was Full Kilt Studios right next to that clown liquor store. I don't know if that's what it's called, but it's got the clown on it. Anyway, I digress. So we're mixing and we're getting so many, doing so many revisions. Back in those days, we weren't uploading to the internet, to making an MP3 or whatever. We were just making CDs. And so every CD that we would make of a mix that was like, okay, this is an old mix, we're not using this, we would put in the microwave for 10 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, and it would go, boop, start going, and start crackling. And right before it would start to catch on fire, we'd stop it, open it up, and if you look at the Panic CD, the actual CD, the artwork on the CD is what one of those burnt up, microwaved, crackled CDs looks like. It's just all bricked up. You know what I'm saying? Not really. Not in that way. But it looks like, I don't know, like cracks all throughout the CD and a really cool design. And that is actually from the microwave CD. All right, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. We're going to do one more for you guys. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it, Nate. Let me know.
Hey, Mike. Frank from Florida. Yet again, I have some lightning round questions that just came to my head. Was curious of your thoughts on these. So the song Where Will We Go? I know it's at the end of It Came from Bremerton. I know there's an acoustic version. What was the original intent for that song? Was that just meant for the It Came from Bremerton film? Was it, or is it on some sort of expanded version of The Ever Passing Moment somewhere? Any insight, that would be appreciated.
Okay, I'll answer that question. I think you're going to ask a different one. Thanks for the call, Frank. Appreciate it. So, Where Will We Go? A song that really wasn't released on any albums. It was just released on, I guess it was released on the documentary It Came from Bremerton, like you were saying. That was recorded, I think, during the Ever Passing Moment. We did probably a full band version of it, if I had to guess, if I can remember correctly. And then we did an acoustic version of it. But what was the intent? No, honestly, I think, I don't know, man. I was probably just feeling feeling emotional about life one day, and I wrote a song called "Where Will We Go?" Where will we go when it's over? What will we do when we're through with this band, with this life, with everything? Are we going to settle down in a small town like here in Bremerton? I mean, life is good, even when you do settle down. If you have a chance to settle down, your life has gone pretty well, I think. So even though I was being a little emo, I think in the song, it really did tap into like a real feeling that a lot of people have later in life. I think I was probably much too young to be singing that at the time. And that's where it kind of didn't have much connection with people, probably. I don't know. Maybe it does now, but at the time, I think it was good of us to not release on the Ever Passing Moment, because just a little too wise, too old. I don't know. Not even wise. That's the wrong word. I hate to even say that. It was too genius. What are we gonna do? All right. Well, let's hear what else you have to say.
Moving forward to the Renaissance EP a couple years later, I know you play Lonesome Town. The other songs that I happen to love, The Opposite's one of my favorite. Can't find any live performances of that anywhere. Did those ever creep into the set list? Do you foresee them ever creeping into the set list? There was another song, I think it was on the B-sides Let's Rock record of Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone. I remember reading an article right before Ever Passing Moment came out about a song you said that you had that was a little bit more poppier, and I think you said that at the time the working title was My Heart Still Hurts. Love that song. And I know with the new album you mentioned there was going to be some poppier tunes. I didn't know if that type of song was creeping into the mix as well, because that is a fantastic song, and I would love a style like that on the new record, which I'm totally excited for. And then lastly, I noticed in the early days.
Okay, I'll pause it there because I don't want to forget, and I will, believe me. So Lonesome Town, Renaissance EP, will we ever play any of those other songs aside from Lonesome Town live? Lonesome Town's the one we definitely focused on. Just seemed to be the one. The Opposite was the other one that we played a few times. We have played it a few times. I don't know very often. And then a couple of the other songs, I can't remember what even is on the Renaissance EP, but I think we played a few of the other ones just randomly here and there. And the only place we're probably going to end up doing songs like that live would be on the live stream, and we would have to practice them because there's no way we would. I couldn't tell you how to play any of those songs right now, except for Lonesome Town. I could probably do that one, but Don't Forget Me When You're Gone off of Let's Rock. Yeah, that was kind of us purging songs that did not fit. I hate to call songs B-sides because it implies they're not good songs, and sometimes they're not, but a lot of times the songs just don't fit the style of record that you're making and the style of band that we even are. We've experimented with really poppy, slow stuff with piano, and that's always fun for an artist to do. It's not necessarily what the audience wants. So with Don't Forget Me When You're Gone, that was a song we recorded for, I want to say we recorded it for Before Everything and After. And then or maybe even earlier than that, I don't remember, but it just sat around and we were like, let's just put this on this B-sides album, Let's Rock. Running Out of Time was also kind of like that. It was just like this different kind of thing. I think all those songs were more akin to like something I might do as a solo artist, which is branch out into poppier, more ballads, more different instruments, pianos and things like that. But with MxPx, I don't know. We looked at the edge, we looked over, and we're like, I don't think people really want us to be doing constant ballads. I mean, Quit Your Life was like we did Quit Your Life, and that was as far as we would go, so far. But as far as poppy stuff on this new album that's not out yet, nothing quite that slow. There's no ballads on the record. I'll just say that. It's a much more hard-hitting record. Even the poppy stuff is poppy in a way that is rockin'. So I don't think you're going to be unhappy. I think you're going to be very happy with everything we do on this, Frank. So appreciate it. And yeah, So don't forget me. All right. All right. All right. All right. You still have a little bit more. You're still going. Let's go. What else?
Play the bass with your fingers. I know, then obviously for most of the career, then you transition to the pick. Just to give me an insight, like, when did you make that decision? Was it just a matter of, hey, I could do more with the pick? Do you ever sit and play the bass without the pick? Just kind of wanted the timeline of that, because I noticed in the early days and some of the early videos you played with your hands. Okay, cool. Well, Mike, as always, thank you, man, for the answers. Be well. Regards to the family. Bye-bye.
Dude, thanks for the call again. Thanks for all these questions. These are great questions, by the way. I appreciate these questions. Let me give you the rundown on the finger. Let me walk you through it. I basically used my fingers the whole time up until Life in General. Used my fingers on the whole album, except for Chick Magnet. There's parts of Chick Magnet where I use fingers and parts where it's pick, but it's mostly pick. And then I went on tour, smashed my finger in a bus door, had a really hard time on the rest of that tour. It was in Canada. I've told this story before, but long story short, smashed my finger. It was in pain. I was like, if I just used a pick, it would be so much easier. So I tried using a pick, and I did kind of on that tour, but it still hurt because, well, it still hurt. My forearm wasn't worked out, wasn't ready for it, so my arm would get really tired. And then from then on, I was like, all these calluses on my finger, that mixed with Steve Kravac telling me, hey, with punk rock and rock and roll, using a pick is going to give you a much more consistent sound. You can play faster. You can do all these things. Well, of course, I'd grown up listening to like Carl Alvarez from the Descendants playing bass, do 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 do. Even Tony Lombardo before him, do 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 do. So that's what I was doing, things like that. And then I just moved over to a pick and it simplified a lot of what I was doing a bit, but it made it more driving. And as a singer, because those bass players, Tony and Carl, are not, well, they're singers, but they're not singing leads in their band. Let me just say that. People like to take a little clip from what I say and get real mad at what I say. So I try to be clear about that. So because I'm singing, I really am focused on singing, and then the bass playing is supporting that more than the other way around. So that's why my bass playing has really evolved over the years. But playing with a pick is just natural to me now. I've been doing it ever since Buffalo. So Buffalo is the first record, slowly going the Buffalo, that I used a pick on. And I used a pick on everything since then. Now I do sit down without a pick now and again and jam bass. And then instantly I'm like, I'm glad I use a pick normally because my fingers are starting to hurt. Like even when I'll play acoustic guitar with my fingers sometimes. And if I'm doing that for days in a row, practicing a song over and over, something like that gets rough, and I have to really build up my calluses, which, you get a callus here, you get a callus here, you get calluses everywhere. My left hand still, I always have calluses for the most part, but they get strengthened the more I play, and they get weak the less I play, of course. It's just how it is. But yeah, that's it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for listening to the podcast. Shout out to Bob McKnight and Christine Hall. Appreciate both of you. Christine's been working on the podcast stuff with YouTube on that end. And of course, Bob's been working on the audio version for a long time now. So appreciate both of you guys. It is a crazy time in life right now. We got summer now. So go outside, breathe the fresh air if you can get some, touch some grass, ground yourself, take your shoes off, walk in the grass barefoot. I know that's very hippity dippity, but like just do something different, right? Like do something that's going to set you apart from your normal everyday and see if you like it. I don't know. That's it. And of course, MxPx.com. Peace.